Hello, and welcome to another episode of Dr. Marcia's Lounge. I am your host, Dr. Marcia. I'm so excited to be back with you again. I am really excited because today I have someone who's very near and dear to me on the show. I have my niece, Miss Jade Mitchell. I'm going to let her talk to you a little bit in just a moment to tell you what she does, what she's all about. But before we do that, I want to remind you to make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and also turn on those notifications. I have to ask Coach Lou where that button is located. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. You know where it is because you use YouTube all the time, so turn on the notifications and make sure you get notified every time a new episode of Dr. Marcia's Lounge drops. So, we are here today to talk to, y'all, she is just beautiful. I'm just looking at her. I'm like, God, we got some good genes in this family.
That's right.
But this is my niece, Jade Mitchell, and she's going to be talking to us about actually a couple of things today. One, about her ministry, which is from religion to relationship. And there is a difference. Don't y'all try to act like you don't know. There's a difference. And then she also has a virtual assistance business, and we're going to talk about that some too. And she went to, and you have to say it like this, the Fort Valley State University. Okay, so she'll give you a little bit more about her background. Jade?
Well, thank you so much, Auntie, for having me here. You always support me, and I'm so excited to be here and to talk about From Religion to Relationship in AVAE. As my auntie said, my name is Jade Mitchell, and just to start off, I started From Religion to Relationship in 2021. I had heard from the Lord about starting a podcast because he was teaching me how to have a relationship with him. And one of the biggest things that the Lord always tells me is that people don't know who I am, and I want you to tell my people about me. I want you to tell them the truth. And so in me finding my relationship with Christ, I was able to start my podcast with the first episode talking about my testimony, so that, you know, we can just like break down some of the religious constructs that don't serve us.
Oh my.
And we can get into having a true relationship with Christ. Yeah.
And you said something key. You have to break those religious constructs down, because I grew, well, no, my minister from when I was a little girl, he's going to be with the Lord. So but I grew up, I really didn't understand. I just went to church because that's what we did. We went to, on Saturdays, we had choir rehearsal. My Aunt Doris was the musician, the choir director, and everything. So we did that on Saturday. Then we got up, we went to Sunday school on Sunday, regular church service, and an afternoon service. But I didn't really know God until I was much older. Yeah. Even though I was in the church, I was being what I know now to be religious, but I didn't have a relationship.
Yeah.
And that's, if you don't have a relationship, what you got?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you have without having that true like relationship and that heart to heart level with God? And I think that you made a great point, because there are so many people, especially here in the American church, that are churched, but they're not discipled, and they don't read their Bibles. And they go to church on Sunday, and the preacher preaches the message, and then they close their Bibles, and then they go back home.
Yeah, and they don't open it again until maybe Wednesday, if they make it to Bible study. Because y'all know that's the traditional Bible study day for African Americans is Wednesday, so you might not open it again until Wednesday. Yeah, and then on Sunday. Yes. No studying in between.
Exactly.
And what does the word say about studying the Bible? What do you have to do?
It says, give us this day our daily bread, first of all. So our daily bread would be us seeking the Lord every single day. And how do we seek the Lord? We seek him in his word.
For some people that, you know, here's something else that it just popped in my head. They don't know that that's what you're supposed to do is seeking him every day. But also they look to you. You might be the only Bible effect that they see.
Yeah.
So that's why it's really important for us to be able to study and show ourselves approved.
Absolutely.
Because if people come, but now we have cell phones, which makes it a little bit easier. If somebody comes and asks us something about the Bible, we need to be able to say, well, yeah, that's there.
Yeah.
Or no, that's not what it said. That's not what he said.
Yes.
And that's not what, you might want to reread that.
Yeah.
So how do you encourage people to read the Bible? Because sometimes people say, well, I don't understand all those big thou shalt not. And so how do you encourage people?
Well, first, I would say that you don't really want to rely on anyone else to tell you the truth. You don't want, you can't, when you think of a relationship, you don't rely on someone else to build your relationship with your person or your friends or your family.
That's good.
You would invest time into that relationship. And so it is a commitment when you decide that you want to follow Jesus. And so that does mean that you spend time in his word, getting to know him. And I would encourage people to read their word by just telling them to be patient and telling them to be resourceful. Because I have had conversations with people saying that, the King James Version is just so out of touch and I don't understand. And I totally get that, but there are so many resources at our fingertips for studying the Word of God. There are study Bibles. You can go on YouTube like we are today, right after you leave here. And there is this great page called The Bible Project, and it will explain the Bible out to you. It'll explain different chapters out to you.
Oh, wow. That's good. The Bible Project. Now, because I like the NIV version. Because it talks to me in every day. And that's how I talk to God. I'm Heavenly Father. Hey, how you doing? It's me, your child again. Can you? So I think that's really important that people have other resources. And sometimes, what do you think about like study groups?
I think that community is important. And I think that as a believer, especially when you're growing your relationship with God, that you should find community because there are people that are going to be reading different parts of the Bible than you, are going through the same struggles. And it allows us an opportunity to be in the presence of other believers that are going through the same thing that we're going through. And it really does, again, strengthen that relationship by having that community.
I think that's important too, the relationships with other believers, because sometimes I know for me, there would be times I'm like, I'm the only person in the world who's ever had to deal with blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But we know that's not true. And there's nothing under the sun that he hasn't seen before. So when you're able to develop relationships with other people, I think that helps you in your own growth. Not that you have to go through the exact same thing the exact same way, but like you said, they could be reading a different interpretation and giving you some tips and pointers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Jade is a young lady. You guys can see she's very young. How difficult is it for you to have that? Because I don't know if I don't know. I don't want to tell on myself, but when I was your age, I don't know if my relationship was at the point yours. It's a beautiful thing. You're so mature for your age. How do you talk to other people your age about, you probably want to get a relationship?
Yeah, let me start off by saying you're not that far away from my age. It's only like...
See why she's my favorite?
Like 2 years. Right now, my relationship has matured in Christ. Okay. So it's definitely been a journey. I would say now is probably easier than it was before.
Okay.
Because I've lived life without Jesus, and I've lived life trying to do things for myself and by myself. And I'm tired. I don't want to do it like that anymore.
Right.
And I know that sounds like super churchy of me to say, I guess, but the reality of the situation is that I've recognized that like what God wants for me is better than what I ever wanted for myself.
That's so true.
And also that even the things that I've struggled with in life, the things that the Lord has saved me from, like it's literally all been worth it. So I wouldn't say it's like the hardest thing. However, I have been in a place where I was trying to establish to get where I am now. And that was very difficult.
Yeah.
Because I can hear the Lord audibly, and I always like have been able to, and the Lord would speak to me when I was like really struggling with my faith, and I would tell him to be quiet.
That's bold.
It is.
Stop talking to me. You know how young people stop talking to me.
No, literally, that was me. It was. I would tell the Lord to be quiet. Like, he would be like, "I love you so much," and I would be like, "I don't care."
Okay.
Yes.
And he kept talking.
And he kept me. Like, he kept me. He kept telling me that he loved me. And that's where it started. The Lord's love saved me. It saved my life. Just a little part of my testimony. The day that the Lord like saved me, saved my life, I woke up and I was like really sad, and I was just like struggling the whole day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, what is happening? And the Lord had been speaking to me for a while, and that was the time when I was just like, please be quiet. I was struggling so bad with depression and anxiety. This was like shortly after I had graduated from college, maybe a year later. And I was like, I was experiencing grief in a lot of different forms. And I was really, really depressed and sad. And that particular day, I had gotten up and I was just, like I said, feeling really blue. And the Lord was like, he would literally always say, I love you. Like, I love you no matter what. But that day, he was just like, get up, get in your car. And I listened, and I'm like, well, what do you want? Like, what do you want with me? And he's just like, just drive. And I'm like, well, where do you want me to go? And it was like a Saturday. And I went to this, I was living with my dad in South Carolina at the time. I went to this church, it's called Seacoast. And the parking lot was empty. And I was like, why did you make me drive here? Like, I was so angry at God, you guys. It was so bad. I'm like, the parking lot is empty. No one is here. I'm so dumb for driving here. I was so dramatic. And the Lord is like, go up to the door and open it.
So you got out of the car?
I did.
When the empty parking lot? And
yes. And it was like a big church. Think New Birth. It was a big church.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah. Completely empty parking lot. And the Lord's like, go up to the door and open it. And I'm just like, the door where there's the empty part, there's no one here. They're gonna arrest me. I'm in South Carolina.
They're gonna get me.
They're gonna get me.
Yeah.
And
I've never heard this part of your testimony before. This is beautiful. Okay, so what happened? Don't keep us waiting. You went to the door. Was the door unlocked?
It was unlocked. And I opened the door and I went to the sanctuary, and there was this one woman in the whole church. And immediately when I saw her, I sobbed. I cried. She was like, are you looking for anyone? And I was crying. I was like, will you please pray with me? She was like, of course, come. And she prayed with me, and the Lord saved my life that day.
I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it because, see, she was an angel on earth. And I experienced that one time.
Really?
With an angel. When my mother had a stroke, and we were living actually in Winston-Salem, and got her to the hospital, and the doctor came out and told me she's not going to make it through the night.
Wow.
And this was in 2007. And I'm just sort of, at first they wouldn't even let me back with her because I wasn't her next of kin. It's my dad.
Right.
And he had to come from New Bern,
Right.
the metropolis of New Bern. Y'all know where that
It's
is.
a lovely place. I love it.
And he had to come from New Bern. I was like, she can't be by herself. And so they finally let me go back there. And I was like sort of laying across the bed and I was just crying because I was like, I hope my dad makes it in time. And this lady came out of nowhere and she was like, she's going to be okay.
Wow.
And I was like, who, what?
God is so good.
Yeah, he is. And so when she told me that, I stopped crying and I went to thank her because I thought she was in a room like, it's not a room, but you know how an ER is. I thought she was next, and they were like, who, what you talking about?
Wow. She was an angel.
She was an angel.
Yeah.
And my
so
mom lived
beautiful.
for 7 more years.
Wow.
Yeah.
God is so faithful.
He is just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So that's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
And I know that made you feel like really calm afterwards, after you were able to, because sometimes I think we as women hold on to stuff until it's almost like a physical presence where it bottles up inside of us and we don't have a way to release it.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who's a pastor and he said tears, when you cry around him, he won't give you tissue because he said that's just a cleansing process.
Yeah. My
And
mom
so
says the same thing.
She says the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. So it used to be that I was like, give me some tissue. And then you look up, you got all those little tissue things all on your eyes red. But when you just let the tears flow,
Yeah.
the same thing doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I had never heard. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that
of course.
with us. Thank you,
it did make me feel calm immediately after.
Mm-hmm.
However, comma.
That's my thing. I always say, however, comma.
Sanctification is a process. Okay? And I'm still on it.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what we
Yeah.
have to recognize. People think, oh, well, once you get saved or, you have that relationship with God that you have no more problems, no more issues, no more tears. That's not true.
Yeah, it's a lie.
A bold-faced lie.
Yeah, I would even venture to say it's a lie of the enemy. I would even venture to say that so in churches today, we often hear what's called a prosperity gospel. And prosperity gospel is like basically like kind of telling you that like if you just do these works, if you sow this seed, you will be prosperous. And it tells you that everyone is supposed to be prosperous and meaning financially prosperous. Or just let your haters hate. You know what I'm saying? But ain't nobody talking about Jesus and the cross.
And that's sad.
It
That's
is.
a sad state of affairs.
It
when,
is.
when that's all you're talking about. Because I'm all for people having prosperity, but I want them also to have a relationship.
Yes, exactly.
And I think if you have the relationship, the prosperity will come.
Yes.
But if you just have the prosperity, you're not necessarily focused on the relationship.
Exactly. And I feel that because we're taught prosperity instead of Jesus, that's where the misconception comes in as far as like it being like sanctification being a process. And the word says, be not conformed by this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And transformation takes place over time.
Yeah.
And so like there is a huge misconception that when you come to Christ, you're just good, like you don't struggle, like you don't have hard times, or you don't have to fall on your face. And I feel like it's that way because there's not an openness in church talking about how hard it can be to walk with Jesus.
And I think that's because, and this is a Marcia-ism, you guys know I always have Marcia-isms, but I think that churches are afraid if they tell people the truth, they won't keep coming to church and keep paying their time. Oops, did I say that?
And told the truth.
Did I say that? But I think that's what they're afraid of.
I think that definitely has some truth to it. I also think that it's just become really popularized. Like for instance, social media. It's an instant gratification thing. There is no instant gratification in this walk. There is no instant gratification here.
Yeah.
It's not that's not what happens.
Okay.
And so I feel like it's really easy to get up and preach about prosperity because it's what gets the heart pumping. But also that's why we find people that go to church and they get that word and they're pumped up and they never go back and read their Bible.
Read it for yourselves. I tell people that all the time. Don't tell me, I'll find it. I need to read it for myself.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's your testimony is beautiful. I know you have a wonderful relationship with God, and He's done some things for you in your life. You said He saved you, and I know that to be true. We're going to switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
So you also have she's a businesswoman, y'all. A businesswoman. Don't get it twisted. She is a businesswoman. I love that she's wearing her company t-shirt, AVAE. What does that mean?
Angelique's Virtual Assistant Experience.
It's an experience, y'all.
Yes.
So what does a virtual assistant do? What is that?
So I started AVAE in 2022, and I decided to really cater to small Black businesses to optimize their processes in any way, shape, or form. Like, that is not anything specific because everybody has different needs. But I, in my regular day job, I'm a project coordinator. And so organization and optimization, it's just what I do. Like, I'm a very type A schedule person. And I just come in to just kind of clean up their business and try to see, like, where are you working super hard that you can just be working a lot smarter.
So work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it can be, I'm a business owner, and it has taken me years to get my processes in place. I wish you had been around at the beginning of my business so that I could have saved myself these no, that's not gray hair. Y'all don't have no gray hair. But it's stressful. And so how can a business get in touch with you if they want you to come in and help them clean up their processes?
That's a great question. So I actually transitioned my business to mainly working as a transaction coordinator.
Okay.
It's still like a virtual assistant role, but it's for real estate agents. And for real estate agents, for any admin things they need as far as like getting their transactions done or getting their MLS updated. And you can reach me at my Instagram. It's at AVAE_TC.
Awesome. Well, this has been a beautiful thing. Anytime I get to encourage a young person, but especially a young person who's my niece, it makes me feel just pride. It just makes I'm just so proud of you, and I know that you're going to continue to do amazing things. So make sure you are following her on IG. Say the IG handle again. For
the virtual assistant businesses, at AVAE_TC, and for From Religion to Relationship is at From Religion to Relationship, all one word, on Instagram. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. And we look forward to hearing more great things. Y'all better get with her now before her schedule gets too busy and she can't fit you in. So thank you again. I'm Dr. Marcia of Dr. Marcia's Lounge. You can follow me on all social media at Marcia Cradle, CREDLE. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.